Welcome back to Chasing Rank. It is Damo, and today you're here with my Game Week 1 recap. We're going to go through the highs and the lows of the first opening game week of FPL 25-26, and without further ado, you can see what's on the screen and the points we got, so let's get into it. But before we do, a big thank you to you, the viewer. Our engagement has been amazing over pre-season, and if you really want to chase your rank, you definitely need to hit the subscription button down below, like the video, and leave a comment on how you went in game week number 1. The more engagement we'll get, the more that the community will see our videos, and the more that Dom, Paul, and I can help chase your rank and give you the best chance to win your mini leagues. As you can see on screen, we started with a very valiant 60 points throughout the season and an overall game week rate of 2.8 million, which is, ironically, where you are at the start of game week number 1, or at the end of game week number 1. That's what your rank's going to be. In terms of the team, I'm happy with it overall, and my initial thoughts is we do not need a transfer moving into game week number 2. Let's talk through each player and what happened in their games, and see if we can maybe pinpoint a couple areas to look at for the coming game weeks. I'll go with Sanchez in goals, and since we're talking about Chelsea, we'll throw Palmer and Joe Pedro into the same mix. Sanchez got us 8 points in goal, with Palmer and Pedro with 3 and 2. Maybe a little lucky for the clean sheet due to the disallowed Eze goal, and Sanchez probably at fault for not saving the free kick, but 8 points nonetheless. He also got a late bonus point, which got us up to 60 points overall, and he was fairly decent in net. Made a pretty good save against Mateta, and I have no qualms in holding the Chelsea goalkeeper. It just shows that he was the safest option in that back line. Cucurella did really well as well, but for the 4.5, 5 million defenders that you could have gone for, in the end it was a 4.0 that played at centre-back, and not Tossin, and not any of the others that maybe some of the algorithms were predicting. Joe Pedro and Palmer were very poor going up front. This was probably Chelsea's worst game of the season and of pre-season and the Club World Cup. Palmer looked more central and almost looked like he was playing like left 10 or right 10. And when in the Club World Cup, he basically played wide right and came inside, and he looks his best in a Chelsea shirt when he plays in that role. For fantasy, he's also at his best when he's out wide coming inside, being able to draw defenders to allow people to get beyond him to slip in for assists, or to be able to beat people and get a goal. Seems Chelsea are very hell-bent on playing him in this 10 role, and he goes missing, and it's easier for oppositions to mark him. I will say, out of everyone in my team, he's the one I'm most worried about at 10.5 million, and there is definitely a world where I will go Palmer down to another midfielder in order to free up funds for another move. Pedro, I'm not as concerned about. He just didn't get the service. He made a couple good runs into the box, one notably where I think that Sanchez went long and it got him behind, and Pedro Neto on the left could have cut it to him, and he didn't get it away in time. On a different day with some better service, I have belief that Pedro will score over the next couple of game weeks. He's not a real concern. This is the first start for Chelsea. I know it's the first real competitive game, but over pre-season of the Club World Cup, where he started in all those other games and scored, just how it goes in fantasy, that sometimes they just don't get the biscuits in the opening day. We'll move on to Tarkowski, probably one of the most unlucky ones for myself. He got 4 points, and defensive contributions are very important. As you guys can see, he got 2 points here, which is pretty nice. He got that pretty early on in the game. I think he got to 14 in total. Very unlucky to concede a penalty, I thought personally. If we're paying that as handball, everything's handball. You have the Bournemouth one on the halfway line against Liverpool, not given, which is a clear handball and a red card. And then you have one where a guy keeps his arm by his side, it takes a deflection, and he just follows the line of the ball, and he cops it. If he doesn't cop the penalty, it doesn't look like there's going to be a goal in that game, to be fair. It was a game where the attacks both lacked, and Tarkowski probably was on track for at least 8 points and some bonus, and maybe 9 or 10 points there. That is a difference of 6-point swings. Nice to have Fantasy Premier League back, where refereeing decisions that are quite poor and VAR decisions that are even mind-boggling still seem to impact us as FPL players. Pedro Porro was definitely a good player to have in the squad, and he looked very advanced in this opening game week. They played 5 at the back against PSG, and he was very attacking in that game in the Super Cup. But on the opening match, they went back to a back four, which is what I expected. Unfortunately, he was never the one crossing the ball in like Kudus was towards Richarlison, who had a worldie of a day. but I am very bullish in Pedro Porro. Spurs should be better defensively. They have some better midfielders in there to help protect that defense. And Porro, as you can see, is definitely the most advanced of the fullbacks, at least until your doggy's back. And they have some very good fixtures coming up. West Ham look very poor against Sunderland. We may as well throw Diouf in this conversation because it's the same game. Guiu in this conversation because it was the same game. Diouf, though, had a goal opportunity cleared off the goal line. He drifted inside, Fulcrum laid him in, and he had a great shot with his left foot. If that goes in, we're looking at a haul for Diouf. I'm not one of those to throw the toys out the pram. And the beautiful thing is he's only, if we go to view profile here, he's only owned by 7.2% of teams. So unlikely he's going to get a dip in price. We got him with the intention of rotating him in for the good fixtures that West Ham do have. And even though they conceded 3, I do believe there are attacking turns for Diouf moving forward. It's also easy to pivot away from him as well. Say if I want a Manchester United fullback called Dorgu, who also had a pretty good game and is one on my watch list moving forward. And I will discuss that more in the live stream that this video will come out after it in. But a note here to make sure you hit the subscription button so you know when we go live on Tuesday at 8 p.m. Australian Central Standard Time each and every Tuesday throughout the game weeks here on the Chasing Rank YouTube channel. But yeah, I'm not concerned with Diouf. Guiu didn't start, but he didn't get a preseason either. I'm not too concerned by this. I expect him to get minutes at times. The fact he was given the number 9 shirt and someone that reads into to player numbers as an FPL manager, that to me means they view him as a long-term starter or getting regular minutes as per his contract for his loan from Chelsea. So I wouldn't be too worried if you have Guiu on your bench. Moving to the midfield here, we got Reinders with the 10-pointer. He looked exceptional, and this could have even been more. Well done to those people that captain Reinders. There is a handful of people that did that, which that's next level. And well done to those that had Haaland in their team because he probably paid off this week. Was fantastic, though, was Reinders getting in those big pockets of areas. And the fact he didn't play 6, he played in this 8, was fantastic. I just don't see how City can drop him when he's in this sort of form, and I don't see how City drop him when he looks this good. For $5.5 million, he looks like he could break the game, and he's already had a price rise or two, and I think he is fantastic. Moving on to Bruno Fernandes, for those people that are very frustrated with him, my question would be why? He played against Arsenal. He was very creative. He slipped Dorgu in, who hit the post from a great left foot effort, and Dorgu's on my watch list because of that. But he was creative and he was instrumental to everything United did. He won the ball back quite a fair bit and got 11 defensive contributions. So one more, he would have got an extra couple of points here and would have scored 4 points, which would be a return in FPL. But unfortunately did not find that last defensive contribution. On a different day, he walks away with an assist. There was also a couple of moments where United looked really good going forward. And I expect Bruno to get goals, assists, defensive contributions, and I still think he's going to score a lot of points. I kind of knew this Arsenal game was going to be difficult, and we picked him for the long term. I think he's fine. Mohamed Salah is Mr. Inevitable. He actually played fairly decent here against Bournemouth, picked up some good areas, was really creative, but was probably getting held a lot wider. As the years have gone by, defenses know that Salah is so heavily left-footed that they just keep him wide right as far as possible and just show him the byline. And this allows for him to get some more assists with the outside of the left foot ball that he likes to play, or when he cuts inside and the defenders follow him, he's able to slip others into play. That's the Salah that we've been getting over the last probably 6 to 12 months for sure, but he still knows how to find the back of the net. He was alert to the danger in the 94th minute that was still left in the game and was able to get onto his right foot and proving it again. He can score goals with his right as well. So hopefully we get the continuation of Mohamed Salah of previous, and I have no concerns there. Anderson played fairly well with an amazing assist for Chris Wood, who's just, Forest didn't know how to score goals in pre-season, and all of a sudden they moved back from 4-4-2 to 4-4-1-1, and they get goals. So there you go. Anderson with the assist, which is great. Fell one defensive contribution short of another couple of points. An 8-pointer would have been huge. Yet again, if you look at my team, unlucky penalty for Tarkowski probably costing 6 points, with the bonus points included. One more defensive contributions, another 2 points. So let's go 6, that's 8. And another one more defensive contributions, another 2 points. That is, that is 10 points roughly. I could have more with 2 defensive contributions from 2 different players, getting 1 each, and the penalty not being given and the game finishing 0-0 and Tarkowski getting his 10 overall points total. That's the difference between me getting 60 and 70 points, and that's the difference between me winning all my paid head-to-head leagues. I'm in 5 paid-to-head leagues. I lost to a guy who bench boosted, I lost to a guy that had Kudus, and I lost by a couple of points to a couple other guys. These are the differences here, penalty and a couple of defensive contributions for me, winning all those games and being 5-0 in my first game week. In terms of Watkins, let's go on to Ollie Watkins. Don't think there's much you can read into Aston Villa. They have good fixtures. You're picking Watkins for the long term. They didn't look great. The red card killed the game. Newcastle definitely came to set in and defend, which they're going to need to do a little bit, I think, because Newcastle are in trouble. Dubravka played. He pulled off some good saves. Wouldn't be too concerned with Esteve as well. They're going to cop goals and they're also going to keep clean sheets. Would you play him this week? I will talk about that in a second. Munoz and Palace look fantastic, and I really cannot wait to get him into my starting 11. The main reason that I picked him was for the long term, where I can play him against Forest, bench him against Villa, and then play him moving forward. He is that good though, but you may just be able to play him moving long term. And on my watch list, I think is to triple up on Palace at some point this season, and not in the too distant future. I do see myself going to Mateta at some stage, and I definitely think a midfielder like Ismail Assar, or if Eze stays, or someone along those lines is definitely worth having in the team with Munoz as well. I think Palace are in for a really good year, and I really believe that they're going to be great assets come Fantasy Premier League. So that's one part of this done, and that is how the team looked in Game Week 1. We got 60 points. I'm happy with that. You shouldn't panic. I'm not panicking. Let's talk about what I'm planning to do in Game Week 2 and what I'm going to think about in terms of transfers, or if I'm rolling, and what I'm going to do with these Burnley defenders. Over the Fantasy Football Hub, and as you can see, the team is rated at 96%. Hub recommend me to go with the Burnley double up at the back with Dubravka and Esteve. I'm definitely tempted to do it. I may just play Sanchez against West Ham, considering West Ham struggled to score, and then just play Esteve over Porro, who has Man City. I definitely could say that Porro playing 5 with the back is still worthy to play against City, and if you don't want to play Esteve or Dubravka or either, not a bad way to go about it. I just think the West Ham fixture is probably not too bad for Chelsea, considering what we watched on the weekend from West Ham against Sunderland. Guiri doesn't look like he's going to play this game as well, so if we got confirmation that he was going to start before the deadline, I would probably bench boost this week, but the fact that we didn't get to see Guiro off the bench means that I'm not going to be able to bench boost moving forward in Game Week 2, which was kind of half my plan with this team, to bench boost, knowing that I just caught Porro against City, but he could get an attacking return, but I'm okay with how the team looks moving forward. In terms of the team itself for Game Week 2, and this is kind of how I've set it up at the moment in the Fantasy Premier League website, is Dubravka in goal with Munoz, Tarkowski and Esteve, Salah, Palmer, Bruno, Reinders and Anderson, with Watkins and Pedro, with the bench being Sanchez against West Ham, Diouf against Chelsea, Pedro Porro against Man City, and Guio against Burnley, who is predicted 0.05 points. Let's go and have a look what the AI transfers recommendation is. I've got a feeling they're going to tell me to sell, and they have, Joe Pedro, and that is because Mateta's fixtures moving forward is long-term much better. In Game Week number 4, they have a very good fixture, Crystal Palace, and it is Sunderland, and as you can see from my planner, that is the week where I plan to move to Mateta into the team. I also plan in this game week that I could move Palmer out. And if we get 3 weeks of Palmer blanking and he's playing this weird 10 role, this is definitely a week where I could go to a midfielder here and probably go to an Eze if he's still there, but it sounds like he's off the Spurs. Probably going to Ismail Sarr here and freeing up the funds and holding a couple of transfers into Game Week 5. Play my free hit in Game Week 6 before I actually spend that money in Game Week 7, because the team in Game Week 5 actually looks very good as it stands at the moment. And I think we're in a really, really good spot with the team. So moving forward, no plans to transfer this week. I also plan to roll in Game Week 3 if all things being easy, nothing goes wrong. And then get through the international break, and then in Game Week 4, evaluate if Palmer's still playing in this weird 10 role, which doesn't suit him. And if that's the case, then I'm going to probably move to a striker from Palace called Mateta, and a midfielder probably from also Crystal Palace. The plan is then to obviously have the funds in game week 5 to then move to other players, and then move into a free hit in game week 6. What that means to my bench boost is it's not going to be this week, and I'll just play it organically in a week that it looks decent. Looks like the best next week, off the top of my head, is game week 8, because Estevie and Dubravka have a decent fixture, I think, against Wolves off the top of my head. But that's kind of where I'm thinking. So, in recap, pretty decent game week 1. I'm okay with it. 60 points. Would have took it at the start of the game week. And look, I think we're all in great positions here on this channel to have a really good season. And if you're not, hit the subscription button and we'll help you chase your rank. In terms of moving forward, no transfers in game week 2. I plan a couple transfers in game week 4, depending on how players look. If Palmer looks a lot better and he gets going, then obviously no transfer needed there. And it's just going to be Mateta for Joe Pedro in game week 4, which I have definitely earmarked as my first transfer for the season. Bench boost looks like game week 8 now, not game week 2. And I'll play that whenever with a free hit in game week 6, which I've already have a planned free hit team for game week 6 saved on my computer to show you guys when that week arises. With that being said, thank you for joining us yet again on Chasing Rank. Thank you for watching another one of my videos. Big shout out to Dom doing everything on Twitter, so go follow us on Twitter. Big shout out to Paul, who's doing a lot of work here with the shorts here on the Chasing Rank YouTube channel to give you that quick fix to help fix or chase your rank. But from Damo and from everyone else here, give it a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, let me know how you went in Game Week 1 in the comment section down below, and goodbye.